Let's review a crazy week of free agent signings, shall we? Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are live once again on a Friday evening, St. Patty's Day. I even have a dark green shirt, so you can't do any pinching on me here. I want to say hello to all of you right now. I see a couple of you already filling in. How you doing tonight? What we're going to be doing tonight, of course, if you see, wrong way. I always have to point the wrong way. We're going to go over some of the free agency signings by the Raiders. Players that I think we kind of either missed on, either they didn't want to be here, or we just flat out did not target them. And then go over some more, any kind of visible holes that we still have here, because in my opinion we do. We have plenty. I'm sure you do too. But I want to acknowledge and say hello to you guys as you come in here. Again, it takes a little bit of time to get in here. I understand that. I want to say hello to you, and as we normally do, this is how we normally do it. Let's see, let's get this in here. That's how we do it. We do the rundown. It's a little green tonight, of course. It is St. Patrick's Day. I wanted to have a little bit of festivities here. Of course, we start with you guys, the champions. We work our way down to these topics, and then at the end, we're going to have a question and answer segment where you can go live with me and talk. You do not have to be on camera. There is a link in the pinned comment. Once we get to the question and answer segment, you can go in there, assign your name, basically your handle, and then I will let you in. It's basically like a little green room. I'll let you into the conversation. So if you want to do that, you go right ahead and do that as well. No problem with that. Hey, Art, wait, how are you doing tonight? I see you in here. Being 20 years, fix this damn defense. I agree with you. We're going to talk about the defense. We're going to talk about both sides of the ball. Some signings that we've re-signed some players, and also some free agents, of course. We'll get into that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about what's the most important thing here with you guys in this live stream. It's you guys, and it's the champions. How are we doing tonight? The sound went off there a little bit. Anyway, yeah, champion count. We're still growing. I appreciate every single one of you coming out here and helping to grow the channel as well. And if you haven't noticed, I also put a little Facebook here. We're getting a nice little following in Facebook, and I think we might be simulcasting in Facebook. I know I've done that with TikTok, and the setup's a little bit wonky, but with Facebook, I can do everything through my OBS program. So, if you are a Facebook fan, I know some of you come over here, and I promote that as well. Thank you. I probably will be going on Facebook, simulcasting on both platforms at some point, so stay tuned for that. Now, of course, as we do every week, we have a Raider Poll of the Week. This week is no exception, of course, and it's pertaining to what we're going to be talking about tonight in the free agency. And I asked you guys, you know, this NFL free agency, not just with the Raiders, a lot of teams, very fast and furious, kind of crazy activity. I wanted you to grade the Raiders so far. I put as an options, I only put 4 options here, so that's why I didn't put 5, A, B, C, D, F. And I put A, either full rebuild mode continues. C, no real big splashes, typical Raiders. WTF for the F. And then the others put them in the comments, and about half of you gave it an F right now. Me personally, I'm kind of going in between the C and the F, to be honest with you. I think one side of the ball, honestly has been addressed okay, at least adequately, and I'll get to that in a minute. The other side, that's more of my WTF because of how poorly they have played, and of course that is the defensive side of the ball. So without any further ado, let's get right into this. Now, if you were with us earlier on when we actually went over the offseason where we stood as far as contracts and salary cap, this is my video. You can go back and look at that as well. Raiders Reloaded on the offensive side. We're using the same format here, so you can see the different positions, and the color codes are real simple. If they're in silver and black, that means we've got them for at least 2 years or more. If they're in yellow, that means this is their final year here with the silver and black, contractually speaking. The red, it means they're unrestricted free agents. And then JJ, I put in orange because, of course, we had the situation with him and the franchise tag. That was a little special case. So I first want to go over the players that we've lost in free agency, the unrestricted free agents, of course. Jarrett Stidham, if you haven't heard, the guy who had a quote-unquote tryout at the end of the season for 2 games, went to the Denver Broncos, 2 years, $10 million deal. Good for him. Unfortunately for us, I would have loved to have him as a backup. I told you previously I would have liked to have gotten a rookie quarterback and then him as a backup right now. So we kind of went with plan B. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the other guy we lost, of course, is Darren Waller. I made a video on that. Why did we release Darren Waller here? He went to the Giants. We traded him for a 3rd round pick. And I gave the reasons why. I know a lot of people in Raider Nation are upset about it. I'll let you go ahead and watch that video. I'll put a link in the description of this as well. Now, here are the people that we have retained with the Raiders symbol. So a lot on the offensive side. Now, I'm going to say this. It kind of makes sense if you look at this from a logical standpoint. On the offensive side, we were pretty good. 12th overall in yards. Ran the ball well. Josh Jacobs, of course, was the NFL rushing leader. We could use some more work on the offensive line, mainly the interior offensive line. We'll get to that in a minute. We did re-sign Jermaine Illuminor. The details have not yet come out on that contract. We gave Brandon Parker a 1-year deal. I have no idea why. If you've been with this channel any length of time, you know I can't stand Brandon Parker. I've called him a turnstile for the past couple years right now. I think I'm just thinking, why are we keeping this guy around? And then Horsted, the former Chicago tight end. I think this is a very intriguing one. That to me, we've moved on Waller. I don't think we're going to re-sign Foster Moreau, and honestly, that's fine by me. I'd like to give Horsted a chance. He can catch the ball pretty well. We saw that last year in preseason. A little bit of work in the regular season due to injuries. But it would be interesting to maybe have him fight it out with a rookie tight end right now due to some of the signings of what we've done right here. And Art White says, what ranking are we scoring offense in red zone? Pretty low. But a lot of that, I would say, is not necessarily personnel with the exception of quarterback. A lot of that is play calling. We've talked about that. If you want to watch any of my game reviews, I did game reviews for just about every week of the season individually, and I went through that. Also, 3rd down conversions were very low, in my opinion. A little bit below average. I did not enjoy that as well. I also thought that we did not give Zimmer White the ball enough. Maybe it's because of the vision. When he does have the ball, the vision didn't look like it was quite there, to be honest with you. And then we kind of rode Josh Jacobs, and of course it was a contract year for him, I think. So he gave 110%, of course, the rushing title. So, and then Jakob Johnson, of course, that's a McDaniels favorite, a fullback. I wouldn't have signed him. I told you that before, but of course we did for cheap. We tagged Josh Jacobs, going to be a little bit over $10 million this year. Of course, they're probably trying to get him in a longer-term deal. We'll see what happens with that. And I'm wondering if Josh Jacobs actually wants to be here could we possibly trade him at some point before or during the draft? We talked about that last season because we didn't extend him that 5th-year option. Then there was some talk on that. So this is going to be more intriguing. I want to see how this goes. Plus, there's a lot of pretty good running backs out there in the draft pool this year. So keep an eye on that. And then Amir Abdullah, kind of a pass catching kind of guy. We kept him on board. Okay, that's fine. So I think we'll talk about the two kind of big splashes here, so to speak. Of course, we got Jimmy Garoppolo. I know a lot of people are kind of mixed on this. Now, I did a video on this. If you want to take a look at it, it's called Jimmy G, and I kind of explained why. And I gave this a grade, and it was honestly pretty favorable. I have my reasonings there. I think that's kind of a good deal overall as a bridge quarterback. I do not think we can win a Super Bowl with this guy, but if we can keep him a year or two and groom a rookie, and that rookie be, our next franchise quarterback, this makes total sense. Of course, he knows the system and all that. Players love him. Big problem with him is injuries, of course. Every 2 years he has a major injury. We talked about that in the video as well. So I'm not going to reiterate all of that stuff. So go ahead and watch that video after this, after the live stream, if you want to get into that a little bit deeper. And then Philip Dorsett, former first-round pick of the Indianapolis Colts, of course, former Patriot. Of course, everybody's saying Las Vegas Patriots here. This is a guy who's a bigger guy, I believe 6'2", 200 pounds, but he mainly works inside the slot. And when this actually happened, I was thinking, I even put it out on a post, either Hunter Renfrow or Waller's going to be gone, because why have both of those guys and Dorsett in here? And of course, Waller was traded, I believe, the next day. So, Hefe, how you doing? I see you out here. Coach Jimmy G, you don't believe that. You don't want him to be good. Come on, we know you. I mean, you guys get Patrick Mahomes, you got abundance of riches. That's basically what happened. So, and you have a good coach. Kool-Aid Man's a good coach. So this is where we stand right now as far as offense goes. We still need some work on the guards. Alex Bars, I do not want to re-sign. I would prefer to get Andre James renegotiated or cut. I think if we cut him after June 1st, I believe we save about $5.5–6 million on the cap doing that. I mean, he's due about $7 million this year, so that doesn't make any sense to me. Even if he was an awesome guard, which he isn't, I think he's kind of an average guard. If we can renegotiate that down, that's great. Otherwise, I would want to have Dylan Parham here. I was not very impressed overall with Dylan Parham at the guard spot. There were times, and I went over that in my game reviews, where some stunts, some footwork by the offense really shook him up. Cam Jordan really owned him in that New Orleans game, to be honest with you. He kind of got I know he's a rookie. He kind of got an education with that. But I think with his size, I think guard is his natural position. And that with Andre James honestly being overpaid, I think you move him over there. And we need to get a couple guards. We haven't done that yet in free agency. We have 12 picks now due to the Waller trade in the draft, so I'm sure we'll probably be using at least one of those at the position. Other than that, the other position, of course, is the running back position. I know some people are saying tight end, we should re-sign Moreau. I don't want to. I want to get a rookie tight end here. I know some people were saying Mike Gesicki. He recently signed, so he's gone. I don't really want to put a whole lot of money into here, especially since we have essentially, unless we get rid of Hunter Renfrow, we basically have two slot guys with Dorsett here. So why have another why put more money into a tight end position, especially with a fragile quarterback, let's be honest, and a shaky interior line that can get him beat up. So that doesn't make any sense to me. Hefe says, you never know, Jimmy G and McDonald's might be good. Me, McDaniels. Are you going out for a Big Mac after the show here, Hefe? We heard that with Stidham too. There were some flashes with Stidham. I would have liked to have kept him. Jimmy G, we talked about the contract as well. So watch the video on that one. Get too deep into that, but I think overall it was a favorable deal for us. LOL. It had those emojis don't come out here. So that said, with the offense, we need to talk about the defensive side, which is in way more state of disrepair. Dominique says, "What's up, champ? What's up, Dominique? Glad to see you guys out here. I see a lot of people out here. So we're talking about the defense again. The same rules apply with the color coding. You can see that right there. Of course, we re-signed Teamer. He was a restricted guy. But let's talk about 28th overall. This defense is atrocious. Let me get you off of there. 28th overall. This is in yards, of course. Pass yardage has been terrible. Not only that, points allowed, it's been within the bottom 5. Sacks within the bottom 5. Turnovers, I think, was dead last. This defense needs a lot of work. And quite frankly, Patrick Graham needs to step up or needs to step out. There's a lot of opportunity here. We've cleared some cap space. And we'll get to that in 1 minute. But I want to go over the players that we did lose. These unrestricted free agents in red. Let's see. Of course, Andrew Billings signed I believe like a 1 year, $2.5 million deal with Chicago. To me, no big loss there. And then Cleve Farrell, former first round pick, supposedly as good as Nick Bosa. Well, now he's going to play with Nick Bosa. Maybe Nick Bosa can teach him a thing or two. You know, Gruden and Mayock said they were even. Of course, that was a bunch of bullshit. He signed a 1 year, $2.5 million deal, something around there as well. So good luck to him. It's not his fault he was drafted so high. It was our regime and ultimately our idiot of a owner hiring these people don't have any idea what they're doing. Dominique says these free agent moves are laughable. We'll get into that in chat. We just did the offensive side. Let's talk about what we did on the defensive side right now as far as retention. Now we did get Teamer. On a closed deal, but the big one I want to talk about is Jerry Tillery. This is the guy I wanted to re-sign. If you looked at my salary cap videos, I believe we got him for a 2 year, $6 million deal. I think $3 million a year. I think that's great. Plus the second year, if he craps out, I think we're only on the hook as far as dead cap for like $300,000 or $400,000. So very friendly to us. And this guy was kind of shiny. Remember, this is a former first-round pick of the Chargers. Didn't really jive. Maybe it was a 3-4 defense. He couldn't really do it there as the nose. They moved him out to defensive end. Wasn't very good. I used to rag on him a lot. He came here off waivers. I mean, kind of off the scrap heap. And he showed some flashes. I'm very interested to see how he does with a full season under his belt. And let's talk about some of these big moves. And I said that very sarcastically. On the defensive side of the ball right now. These big moves here. Let's talk about Epps. Of course, former Philadelphia Eagle. $6 million a year guy. He's going to be the strong safety for us. Basically, both of these players are kind of similar in that they control the run very well. Pass defense, very suspect. So both Epps, Marcus Epps, and Spillane here are on that MO. Spillane's contract has not been specified yet per spottrack.com. I couldn't get any information on that. I like Epps. He's kind of a hard hitter, kind of like Jonathan Abram. Plays the run well. The passing side, kind of suspect, like Jonathan Abram. It's a little weird. If we're gonna go after, I'm kind of questioning this signing overall. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's a little on the cheap side. I talked about wanting Von Bell. I think he can play the run well, but he's also a better pass defender at the strong safety position. I would have rather have had him, but oh well. That also probably marks that we're not going to go after Deron Harmon. You Deron Harmon fans, he's probably going to find another home. I don't think he's signed anywhere yet, as of yet, but with this signing, that's pretty much nope. We're not gonna keep two guys like that. And then Spillane, a guy. really, again, more of a run stopper on the outside linebacker. Are we going to put him? Of course, he played a 3-4 in Pittsburgh. Are we going to put him at Mike? It's possible. He played a little bit of Mike. He was mostly on the outside, though. Again, good run stuffer. Does this mean we're not going to go after Perryman? I don't know. I would rather have Perryman here. Of course, he was probably cheaper than Perryman. Again, I don't have the details of that. So I think overall, we still got a lot of work to do on this defensive side. We're kind of slow. We were slow with this regime last season at the free agency period. Remember, we didn't get Chandler Jones till later. We finally moved Yannick Ngakoue, got Rocky Sin, and then they pulled the trigger on Chandler Jones. But that didn't happen right away. It was like a week or two later. And of course, we have 12 draft picks. Are we going to go after a quarterback with that 7th overall pick, or are we going to put it on defense now that we have Garoppolo? That might already be answered for us. The 4 quarterbacks might already be gone by the 7th pick. It doesn't look like we're going to move up now. And like I said before, Atlanta can leapfrog us. I talked about that last week. If they want Richardson, they can leapfrog us and take him, say, with a team like Detroit. Could be out there as well, or Arizona. So, let's see. Let's see what you guys have to say about this. Looks like the Raiders are going defense in the draft. Well, they have 12 picks, Don, and obviously they're going to have to. And I keep talking about this, guys. This is a rebuilding year. Nobody wants to hear the R word. I won't get suspended for it, of course, like other R words. But this is a rebuilding year. We got Jimmy Garoppolo, basically, I think, as a bridge for a year to 2 years until he gets hurt again. Of course, get a rookie in now. I'm thinking either we're going to bring a rookie in this year or maybe even wait till 2024. Remember, we still have Chase Garbers on the roster, on the active roster for one more year. He could possibly end up as the number 2. Given the situation, I don't think, especially on the defensive side, we can compete for a championship yet. And until we get some more free agents in here and have a hell of a draft, my view on that's not going to change. We also signed a line snapper. I didn't see that. I know we had Sieg. Are we cutting Sieg then as long snapper? To look at that, because we signed Sieg, I believe, the year before, so I think he's still under contract. Donald says Spillane is more available than Perryman. Well, yeah, he's probably gonna be a lot cheaper too, and he's not a Pro Bowler though either. I think the big thing with Perryman is his injury history. He had that starting with the Chargers. He lost his job in Carolina, and we got him for a song in a trade. Remember that? We got him for we gave up a 6, and I believe we got him in a 7th. So we moved down around, and I believe he was having the hip problem. Came back. He had a little bit of injuries last season. Nothing major, but still, it is what it is. I really don't want to give him huge money, and I talked about that, so... Art White says draft defense as much as we can. Front 7. I like Brian Brissett at 7. I know a lot of people are talking about Gonzalez. Jalen Carter, it looks like he's going to not go to jail. If you heard, speed racer guy, a couple of people were killed. Fortunately, it looks like he wasn't drinking, but the other driver was, who was killed. So I think they're just gonna keep it as a misdemeanor and no jail time, community service, blah, 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 blah. So Chevy Silver Raider says recession. I don't know if you mean Mark Davis doesn't have enough money to sign people, or are you meant regression? If it's regression, I don't know how much you can regress any more than 28th. Oh, well, you can go to 32, I guess, but definitely. Go Hefe, go play in chiefdom. Hefe likes to troll people. He's cool, but he likes to troll people here. And that's what I said, Dominic. Jalen Carter, I do not want any part of if he's there at 7. I will be going live on draft day for day 1. I am so curious to see what we're going to do at 7. I don't think we're going to move up. We could very well move back. And kind of like what we did in our mock drafts, we could very well move back. But I will be live, and let's see. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to be looking how you guys doing tonight. Let's get that off of there. Let's get to the chat. If you guys want to come into the chat room, I've got it open right now. There you are. You do not have to be on camera. Of course, you know, microphone so we can hear you. But it's right there. Why that's there. Kind of crazy. So there it is right there. You'll find it in the pinned comment. You click on that. A new window will open. You go in the green room. Be sure to mute the live stream here on this window if you're going to do that. I will see you in there and I will bring you on and we can have a conversation. We can talk about what's going on with this off season. And my question to you, I put a Q&A. I put a live poll. Let's go to the live poll first. If you see it there, what are your thoughts on the Jimmy G signing? It's very divisive that I've seen with my video, with other content creators. Raider Nation has been saying it as well. I put the options lateral move from Derek Carr, which I think it is, to be honest with you. Take away the injuries if you can keep him on the field. Kind of similar. I think Derek goes deeper with the ball, believe it or not. A lot of people call him check down Charlie with Derek Carr. Jimmy G is probably the master of the check down. That's probably why we got Dorsett, another big short target for him. Good because of the team around him. I agree with that. I mean, he went to a Super Bowl, but mostly running game and defense on that. Another tough year for the nation is number one. I kind of agree with all these. Probably this is going to be the tough year is going to be number one for me on that. So, and then we have the Q&A right here. We have the Q&A right here. Are the Raiders done in free agency? Do you think they're done? I don't think so. Like I said before, they are slow. They're slow. They might have a player or two. Remember, Dalvin Tomlinson's still out there. He's still a free agent. I would love to bring him in. I wanted him 2 years ago before he went to the Vikings from the Giants, before we even had Patrick Graham. Now we have Patrick Graham. I would like to have him. Ogunjobi re-signed an extension with the Steelers, so he's gone. You know, I like him. But he was around for quite some time. I don't really know what's going on with this team as far as the personnel, general management and all that. Glaring hole at defensive tackle now for at least 2 seasons. Not really much has been done with it. Mayock and Gruden threw a bunch of shit against the wall. Like Solomon Thomas. Quentin Jefferson, he was pretty good with us, pretty decent. He was cut, I believe, by Seattle. He went there after he left us. Be another interesting veteran to bring in. Of course, we need to address it in the draft. We need to get at least one defensive tackle with one of those 12 picks. I don't think we're going to have 12 picks. I think we're going to be moving up a little bit, trying to get some talent there. There's usually, I know Mayock talked about it, and I'm not going to think he's the guru. He used to do the NFL announcing for the draft, but he's, generally speaking, the first 100 picks are pretty well good talent. And then you got to kind of dig through. So this is the first year this regime has had a pick above the 3rd round. Remember, we traded 1 and 2 for Devontae last year. So I'm very interested to see what this regime does. I'm not real happy with what I've seen in year 1, either on the personnel side, especially on the coaching side with McDaniels and this offense. They could put up numbers, but they couldn't keep leads. They couldn't score in the red zone. Getting key first downs, even though you got a Zamir White, you moved up to get him in the 4th round and very sparingly used him. I think you should have bowling balled him into their defense in the second half of our opponents. That didn't happen. And even Britton Brown, 7th round. I know he's a 7th rounder, but still another kind of physical type of runner. Didn't happen, so... Okay, so let's get this going. Let's see what you guys are saying here. So go ahead and vote in the polls. Let's see. Let's get Don first. Defense was coming on at the end of the year. No. Chandler Jones made a crazy play with the Patriots. He didn't really do much else, let's be honest. Didn't earn that money he got. The corners have been terrible, but to me, give me average corners and good pass rushers and disrupt the quarterback. I think that's the way to go than just dump a bunch of money at corner. Oh, I'm going to close down one side of the field. Well, that's great. I have a JC Graham, or back in the day, Darrell Rivas. Oh, so what? We'll just use the other side. We'll just dump it off to the running back, which we still can't cover. I saw that a problem 2 years ago with Gus Bradley and his defense. It's still happening here with Patrick Graham. I had a lot more expectations for Patrick Graham and this defense when he came and how he played against us the year before. And also the Chiefs kept him in that. They lost the Chiefs game, but they kept him in that game. The Giants offense was terrible, awful. Daniel Jones was awful that year. Saquon got hurt. That defense kept him in a lot of games. Couldn't win them, but you know what? I was expecting a lot more from Patrick Graham. Didn't happen. It didn't happen this year. So one more year, you get some of your players in here, and if you don't do it, get the hell out. That's the way I see it. Chevy says Myers better not help other teams score. Yes, Jacoby Myers is the guy who actually. I didn't put him on there. Why did I put him on there? Jacoby Myers is the other guy who actually did the lateral. If you watch the Patriots game, of course, he was the guy responsible for basically throwing it right at Chandler Jones. I questioned the validity of that play if you watch those game reviews. But I don't think he's going to do that anymore. But with McDaniels, you're going to have a few stupid trick plays. He was a quarterback, I believe, in college, so expect a pass or two this year. It's going to happen. Chiefdom. Well, you guys are called the Chiefs Kingdom, so, right? Dominic says at least they did try to bring guys to fill needs. Kind of. Where's our defensive tackle at? That was, to me, that's the biggest need on defense right now. What's going on with the middle linebacker position? Is Spillane going to be the middle linebacker? I don't know. What's happening with that? I'm still waiting on some corners. Where are the corners at? Faison I didn't even put on there. I mean, he was here before. I don't consider him a big name. I wasn't very impressed when he was here, so let's see. Will Carr win a trophy, a Super Bowl with the Saints? Probably not. I think he'll make the playoffs next year. Have you looked at the NFC South? It's I believe Tampa won the division, 7-9? And New Orleans has a real defense, unlike the Raiders. And they went and got Jamal Williams, I believe. He's a touchdown red zone guy. And then Alvin Kamara is going to be back probably. They got Olave. I don't care about Michael Thomas. He hasn't done shit in 2 years. He's like a Waller. He hasn't done anything like 2 or 3 years. So, but Chris Olave's looked good in his rookie season. So, I think he's going to excel, and we're going to be stuck with Jimmy G, and people are going to be complaining, and it's not going to be a fun year this year, guys. It's just not. Art White says need a front four and pass coverage and linebackers to chase Mahomes. Yeah. In one of our mock drafts that we did 2 weeks ago, we actually moved down from 7 twice. Ended up at 26 with Dallas, and we got Lucas Van Ness to kind of bookend with Max Crosby, because to me, Chandler Jones, this is his last season. We can't cut him now. Even after June 1st, most of that money will be on our docket anyway. Might as well keep him here. But the year after, it's only like, $3 or $4 million hit, I believe, dead cap hit. So he's going to be gone. Get a Lucas Van Ness, get some edge rushers in this draft and groom them for next season. We still have Malcolm Kuntz. We're looking at what's going to happen with him. It's kind of a make or break year for him, to be honest with you. He's going to see more, especially with Cleve Farrell gone. So let's see. Oh, I'm talking about Gruden and Mayock. Yeah, I guess. I mean, but look at the first round picks that they had. I mean, if you need an edge rusher and you want Nick Bosa, right, and he's gone, you don't get Cleve Farrell, a guy who should have been picked mid to late first round at 4th overall. You go get Devin White, that they should have got, And that's a guy who helped them win that Super Bowl, at least had a good playoff run, Devin White. Look at his stats during the playoffs. Oh my goodness. Uh, I'm just saying, you picked best available. We could have used a linebacker there, but no. I don't know. I heard Gruden was the guy picking the early picks, and Mayock picked the later picks. Maybe it kind of showed they got some diamonds in the rough. Renfro, of course. Hobbs, of course. Max Crosby, they got later in the draft. But like those first and second round picks, Trayvon Mullen no longer here. Leatherwood no longer here. Jonathan Abram no longer here. Josh Farrell's gone. Josh Jacobs has been tagged. I don't even know if he wants to still be here. We'll see how that plays out, or if they might trade him at some point. We don't know. So let's see. Then find corners. We talked about corners in our previous live stream on defense. I'm not a huge, like I said, I'm not a huge fan spending a whole lot of money on the cornerback position. Jamil Dean was the guy I was looking at, but it would cost a little bit of money. I wouldn't mind bringing Rockison back in. And if we are going to go 7th, probably get Christian Gonzalez. I mean, I'm a little leery of picking defensive backs in the top 10. Maybe we trade down. I don't know. What if Will Levis is still there at 7? We don't want him, and somebody else wants him. I don't know. I mean, look at the Jets situation. It looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to play there, Mr. Flake. But you never know. You never know with this guy. But if he's not, they're screwed. They're absolutely screwed at the quarterback position. You could, and they pick 14th, 15th, something like that. So somebody can move up if they want Will Levis. Like I said, I'm going to go live at the draft because this is going to be, at least the first day, it's going to be so interesting to see what happens with us. Probably more so than a lot of years. Let's see. If you guys want to come over here, right, and speak live, let's do it. Let me pull up the, it's on the pinned comment, so it should be at the very top for you. You're not going to be able to click that, of course, but I'm just showing that right there if you want to come in live and talk about Raider Nation football. Again, we talked about the salary cap. I wanted to see where we were going to go and what we should actually do on both sides of the ball. I think we had a ton of money on the offensive side. I think the Waller, I put a video out on that on why. I highly encourage you to watch that. That got a lot of traction. If you haven't watched that already, go ahead and watch that. Overall, I think it makes a ton of sense given the contract situation and his availability, which last 2 years, guys, let's be honest, it hasn't been there. And you could even go back to where the end of the year before last, where he was hurt, and then we made this miraculous run to the playoffs, and then he's there for the Chargers game to get in, where the idiot Brandon Staley called the timeout, didn't take the tie, and then he was in for the Cincinnati game. But I think if we weren't in those games, he would have still been hurt. He wouldn't have been there for the Chargers game. So that, and it seems like he's more into his music career, and then the whole drama with his wife, who plays for the WNBA team, the Aces in Las Vegas, and all this TMZ nonsense. Honestly, it was probably the best thing we could do, especially for a $12 million player who's not producing. Let's be honest. Getting paid in the top 5, not producing in the top 5, and I showed that in the video. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and watch that and get a little detail on that. Let's see. We got 17 people in here. Let's see. We only got 11 likes. I only see 11 likes. What's going on, guys? If you do enjoy this, why not give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel? You will be here live. I'm going to be here live. I haven't done it before. Never done it before. I'm going to be here live for the first day next month in April. For the draft Thursday night. We're gonna do it. I'm hyped. I am excited. I'm more excited than when we had the 4th pick with Cleve Farrell and all that. I'm gonna go live. I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens with Carolina. Of course, I think they're going to take Stroud. And then how the draft rolls from there. I think Atlanta could jump us and take the fourth quarter, take Richardson, and then we're going to sit at 7. What are we going to do? Are we going to try to trade back? Are we going to go after a guy like Gonzalez? Is Carter going to be there? Could we go after him? I like Brian Brissy. Good player. He had some injury issues, some personal issues with his family and all that, but he was in shape on his pro day. Unlike Jalen Carter, who looked bad in his pro day, he looked pretty good in the combine. I think I would rather go with a player like that, and like Dominique said, than having him in Vegas. We know what happened with Ruggs and speeding around. I don't want a replay of that. So I would avoid Jalen Carter at this point. They should have retained Mariota. You talking about the year before? Or are you talking about Atlanta? I think Atlanta. I honestly don't think Mariota's the answer either. I think Garoppolo's probably a better quarterback for Josh McDaniels' system, but that's not going to get it done. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the meantime, until we can get a rookie groomed in here, Mariota did very well, especially when they would run that run pass option, the RPO with Josh Jacobs. You'd see teams, I think it was the Charger game. I think Carr got hurt in that game. They brought Mariota in, and Chargers defense had no idea what to do. They were like shitting in their pants. They just drove down the field, and then we got in the red zone, screwed it up. Gruden screwed it up again. What else is new? And then we brought, but it's not just Gruden though. We have McDaniels here, who's supposed to be an offensive guru, a genius. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. Let's see. Art White says, "What about Nolan defensive end?" That's an option as well. I'm not sure. I would say he's too high at 7. Maybe not. He's very athletic, very quick. Is he going to be able to do this at the NFL level though? How fast he is. If you see some film on this guy, it's crazy. He's like a man among boys, but when you get to the NFL level, they're all men. So is he going to be as effective? If not, to me, he's a little undersized. I would rather go with a Lucas Van Ness, a little bit heavier, 270, I believe. Can make the moves, can bend. If we're going to go that route, I think Van Ness is a little high at 7 myself. If we trade down to the teens, that's a doable thing. If we trade Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson comes into play now. Now, Chicago has the 9th overall pick. That would be very interesting as well. Now, if you don't know, David Montgomery's gone. He went and I believe signed with Detroit. So they're going to be looking for a running back. Could the Chicago Bears pick Bijan Robinson at 9? Could very possibly happen. So all these things need to come to pass. Are we going to keep Josh Jacobs long term? Are we going to fiddly fart around with a 1-year tag deal where he's not going to be happy? This is why I said, to me, it would be better to let him go if he doesn't want to be here than to just tag him and do this little merry-go-round crap. It is what it is. I mean, and frankly, the running back position, it's short shelf life, and you can find players to do it. Now, he had a great year. But before that, not so much. He was actually regressing year over year until that season. So I don't know if he just got it or he was just playing his ass off for a contract or what, but I'd rather not spend the kind of money on that on him. So let's see. Art also says, whoop, there we go. If Richardson is gone at 7, drop down, pick up Stinson from Georgia later in the draft. Yeah, I'd rather have Drew Sanders than Stinson at this point. He's more versatile, and that plays to this regime. And I like him better. I'd rather have Jack Campbell at middle linebacker at this point. We could probably give him the 2nd round. Again, it all depends on what we're going to be doing here. Is there going to be a quarterback of these top 4 that we want? Number 1 at 7. That's a big question. I don't know anymore at this point. But if there is, then they're going to pull the trigger. But if not, why not move back? Why not move back? Remember, we've got those second round picks as well. I get second round and 2 third-round picks. We could move back in the first round late to get somebody. We could take the 2 thirds, move into the second round. A lot to be going on there. Some good tight end talent as well in this draft, especially in the mid rounds where we have the assets to pick them up. And I've joked around with people. This 100th pick and the we got for Waller from the Giants, that could very well be our next rookie tight end. That kid from Oregon State looks pretty good. A couple of others. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So let's see. 746. I was kind of teasing around about, maybe I talked about this last week and last week's. We go on every Friday. So if you're enjoying this, again, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. You know what to do, especially if you're watching this on replay. A lot of people watch these on replay. So if you're enjoying this, you know what to do so you can be here live. Last week on the last live stream, I was teasing about doing a mock draft. We're at 7:46. We usually go about an hour. Probably not going to run out and have enough time for it. I know a lot of people probably celebrating St. Patrick's Day, even if they're not Irish, whatever. Do your thing. I don't really care. That's cool. Just don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive. Please don't drink and drive. But probably next week we'll do some mock drafts again. We had a lot of fun. We did 2 of them. The first one we did basically the conventional route. We took pick 7. We drafted a quarterback and kind of went from there. And then the other one, we went from 7 to 9. I have short videos on that. A lot of fun too. I put a little comedic stuff in there, so go ahead and watch those. But we went from 7 to 9 thinking we would still get Richardson, and then Atlanta picked him off at 8. And then Dallas wanted to move up, and we're like, screw it, let's move up with Dallas. We moved down to 26, got a first rounder next year, theoretically, of course. And we had like an extra second rounder. I think overall we did pretty well though. And we got Hendon Hooker in the second round. So that's another option as well. McKee's an option. The kid from Fresno State, Hayner, could be an option as well. A lot of people talking about him. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. And again, I'm going to be live. First time I've ever done it. I'm going to be live with you guys. Day 1 of the draft, I'm going to be here at least through the Raiders' first round pick. I know it takes a long time and, things get boring and, I can't really show like doing games. I'd come on at halftime, but I can't show the games, because of copyright and all that other nonsense. I can't show really the draft, but we can watch it together, get some reactions. I'm very interested. I am hyped for this. Seriously, this first round and the entire draft. And then what I'll do after that is, set up little, maybe like little shorts of each player and give them grades like I did last year. So come on board. We're expecting you. Let's see. Jay Hawthorne, how you doing? Raiders win this year with top play action, powerful run game. What about the defense? We're at 28th. And I haven't seen any significant movement on that yet. So Epps and Spillane are not significant to me. Where's Dalvin Tomlinson? He's still out there. Former Patrick Graham guy. We need defensive tackle badly. Not to say he's a Javon Hargrave, but he can provide some interior pass rush. And he's decent in the run game. Why the hell haven't we gotten this guy in and signed yet? I have no idea. I'm hoping they're working on a deal. This organization last year, like I said, was pretty slow in free agency and then got a couple splashes with the trade for Devontae and, of course, Chandler Jones. Let's see. Raiders also got compensatory picks, if I recall. I believe they have... we can go over that next week when we do the mock drafts. I believe they got one at the end of the 4th. And I think the 5th, they have 3 5th-round picks and 1 7th that they've exchanged, and I think 2 6th, and they have 2 thirds. We'll get into that though, but I think they got 1 compensatory pick, I believe. I think that's it. So we have 12 picks total. I know that we used to have 11, and then the Waller trade. Now we have 12. Are we going to draft? Like I said, are we going to draft 12 players? I don't think so. I don't think so. We're going to move around. That's if Ziegler and company are worth their salt. This is where you have the draft capital in the second and third day to move around. If you see a player fall, you're 4 or 5 picks away. Throw some of those lower draft picks in there, especially with teams desperate. There's a lot of teams like the Rams don't have any picks usually. They'll go grab that. That's what you do. So I'll be interested to see that. But the first round, what's this regime going to do with a legitimate top 10 pick? They didn't have the first round pick last year, of course, they traded for Devontae. What's this team going to do? Are they going to stand pat? Are they going to go quarterback? Is there going to be a quarterback to get at 7? Are they, if not, they're just going to go straight defense, or they're going to try to move back? I think it's a very exciting time. I think with Carolina in the mix now jumping up from 9 to 1. Let's talk about the Bears. Just briefly. I mean, what a heck of a trade for them. I mean, they got the 9th pick now. They got another first round pick and a second round pick out of this deal, and they need defense desperately. There's going to be some good defensive players at 9 after these quarterbacks go. So, bravo to them. Bravo, they did a good job. And of course, like I said, they need running back now with Montgomery gone. So we'll see what happens. We'll be interested to see how the chips fall this year. Absolutely. And that's part of the fun, because especially as Raider fans, Raider Nation, watching during the season, usually not so much fun. Let's be honest. But the hope, and can we get this player? Can we get that player? That's more exciting. Al's Ghost is here. Salute to you, sir. How you doing tonight? 7:52 Raider time, West Coast time. Of course, we're in Las Vegas. You see there. Go hit a few casinos up here on St. Patty's Day. Once we get out of here, we usually go about an hour. So again, come back next week. We will be doing mock drafts, of course, post combine, post free agency, have a better idea. And I think the algorithms of the programs that we use will be a little bit better. I think there was some issues with that before. Players have risen, players have fallen, like they always do every year. We have a lot of fun with this. We'll probably do 2. We'll have time to do 2. They usually take about 45 minutes a pop, but we have a lot of fun with it. So I encourage you to come out and join us. Al's Ghost was here for that. So yeah, he enjoyed it. Jay Hawthorne here. Bring someone we know as coach like Charles Woodson, defensive back coach. Jay Hawthorne. How do I say this? I'm a member of Raider Nation. Okay. But I got to tell the truth. If Al Davis was running the show, that would have already happened. But we have a Tommy Boy. Have you seen Tommy Boy? Chris Farley movie. Go watch Tommy Boy if you haven't seen it. But this guy's not learning the break business. Mark Davis, he came out of the right womb basically, and now he moved the team to Vegas, and all he's worried about is this. Al Davis was worried about winning. That was his namesake, and honestly, Mark Davis is shitting all over that right now. He's making a lot of money, but the product's not there, and things like this. Charles Woodson would be back. Bisaccia, I've talked about that. That really pissed me off. Not to say that Bisaccia should have been head coach, but if Al was here, he would have brought him back as special teams coach and given him a bump up and pay for being a loyal Raider. That would have happened. I guaranteed that would have happened. Here, no, fuck you. You go away. Our special teams guy, he was from the Broncos, and I showed it was one of the craziest ones because he was one of the worst. Broncos had one of the worst special teams out there in the league that year, the year before last, when the new regime came in. So that didn't make any sense, but he was a McDaniels guy. He was one of his buddies. So if Al was there, he would have insisted on bringing him back. You hire the other guys, but you bring him back. You take care of your own. Mark Davis, he has no loyalty except for the dollar. It is what it is, guys. I hate to say it because Just Win Baby's not here. Unfortunately, I think it died with him. I mean, you got the slogans and everything. I mean, it lives in Raider Nation. It lives in you. It lives in me. But the organization, aside from a few players, like Max Crosby, he is an old school Raider. A motor like crazy, never quit, give you everything, put it out on the field. I'm proud of that guy. He's awesome. But the organization in general, it's just not there, guys, unfortunately. All right, we're at 7:55. I'm going to end the poll. So get your votes in. I only see 24 votes. I see 16 in here now. 13 likes. Let's get that up to 16 likes. Of course, let's get that up. It should be matched. Especially if you're in here this long, why not like it? Absolutely free. And if you're not subbed, you just came upon this thing, hey, you're here. We're having a lot of fun, especially in the off season. We're going to do some mock drafts next week, next Friday, same time. We'll do 2 mock drafts. Didn't really get time to do those tonight, unfortunately. But we're going to do those. We had mock draft 1.0 and 1.1. If you don't think we had fun, go check out those short videos that I did on that on the channel. Had a lot of fun with those. One conventional, like I said, and one not so conventional. Let's see. Hey, John, how you doing? Carr is better. Yeah, it didn't, and I talked about Derek Carr in a previous video. Basically, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, especially if you look at it compared to Garoppolo. We saved money. It would have been 35 for Carr. It's around 25 for Garoppolo. 24. There's 45 guaranteed, but it's a 3-year deal. So if you keep him around for 2 years, still cheaper. Carr isn't injured nearly as much. If you look at the stats with Garoppolo there, much more short passer, not a whole lot of air yards. I think he was a product of the 49ers and how good they were in other areas, and he was just there to not screw it up. Again, I think this is a transition deal. I in no way think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to lead us to a Super Bowl, even if we had a decent defense, which we don't. Our defense is terrible. 28th. They're bottom 5 in a slew of categories I just talked about. Even if we had an average defense, I don't think he's the guy to carry us. He did go to a Super Bowl. Niners had an outstanding defense. They had an outstanding running game. It's different. It's completely different here. I know we got a good running game with Josh Jacobs as long as he's here. We don't know. That's another thing. Are we going to deal him before the draft, during the draft? Are we going to get him to a long-term deal? What is this regime doing with him? Just toying with him with this tag? I don't know. More to see here. More to see here. Stay tuned for the drama. The drama of the Raiders continues, and it's been like this since Al kind of lost his mental capabilities. I mean, he was old. Nothing against that. He was great in his day, but then he passed, and the idiot son took over. Forget it. Thank you. I appreciate that, Art. Hit that like on your way out. I'm gonna end the video poll right now. 16 likes. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Pop that back up for me and ending the poll right now. Very good. Very good. So what was your thoughts? There it is. There's the final results on our live stream poll. And most of you said another tough year for the nation. I got to agree. And it's kind of built that way. I think it was kind of, I don't know. Honestly, we can talk a little bit more next time about the regime itself. How they set up remember, they restructured Carr. Carr's last year on his original contract was last season. We restructured it and extended him last offseason. And it was set up in a way that was very pro-Carr. No trade clause. The whole thing about the deadline being a month before free agency, having to cut him. So, like I said, I said they're letting him go to New Orleans, but this is just a pre-interview sequence. Saints aren't going to give up any draft capital. Why would they? This is stupid. And then we cut him, we get nothing, and then he signs with the New Orleans Saints. And of course, New Orleans is a beast at doing the salary cap. They're an absolute beast. I think he's only like $6 or $7 million on the cap this year. Take note, Ziegler. Come on, step it up. Step up your game. 1983. Yeah, that's the last year. The last season the Raiders won the Super Bowl. So we're at 40 years now. 40 years. I watched that game with my dad. I loved every minute. He was a Rams fan. but he was kind of indifferent because the Rams were known as Washington. You can't say the name anymore, you get in trouble. Redskins. We had a interception return for a touchdown at the half. We had a punt block for a touchdown. We had that big run by Marcus Allen, of course. Washington didn't score a touchdown until I think late in the third quarter, and the extra point got blocked. I mean, it was just a domination. It was awesome, guys. That's kind of like the peak of where the Raiders were, and it's just been down ever since, unfortunately. So take your final comments and we'll head on out. Jay Hawthorne says Cam Newton's still out there. Well, that's good. I probably wouldn't want him at this point. I lost respect for the guy when he didn't fall on the fumble in the Super Bowl, let the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl. Honestly, that I lost any kind of respect I had for the guy. But we don't need him. Honestly, we have Garoppolo now. We need to get a rookie. Now, the rookie they want's going to be there. That's the $1 million question. Are we just going to be? Are we already targeting a guy like Hendon Hooker already in the second round, and we're not going to care about that, and we're just going to go defense? We'll see. And that's the intriguing part of this whole draft process, and that's why I'm going to go live with it. It's going to be crazy. Can you hold your breath for Arch Manning, or turn blue? Hey, Officer Rollout is here. He's awake. Oh my goodness. Isn't that past your bedtime, sir? Taking a little green tea. Green tea only, guys. I promise. I don't know. We're gonna wait. Well, I don't want to wait. He's going to college this year, right? I'm not waiting that long. Screw that. All right, Dominique, have a good weekend. Good night, champ. Good night to you guys. Yeah, we're going to close it out. We do this for about an hour. Again, if you want to come on, we'll have it open. Probably not next week because we're going to be doing mock drafts. We're probably going to go about an hour and a half, 2 hours-ish usually. But I do appreciate you guys coming out here. Hit the like button on your way out if you have not hit it. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing? Seriously. I mean, absolutely free. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell notification to all. That way you'll be notified of our future ones. Like next Friday, we're going to be doing some mock drafts. Some of the most fun we have on this channel, let's be honest with you, is doing these mock drafts, looking at what ifs. Last year, we were doing these and I was targeting Dameon Pierce. I was like, please get us Dameon Pierce. Please get us Dameon Pierce. And look what happened. I mean, we could have had Dameon Pierce in the third. We went and got Dylan Parham. So, to be determined on him, to be honest with you. But anyway, great video, boss. Appreciate it, Claudio. And check out the other ones. Like I said, I did one on the Waller trade. I did one on Jimmy GQ. I made a little GQ magazine out of it. So go ahead and check those real quick, real short. I'll be doing more shorts too. So, and some more comedic shorts. I know a lot of people like those, getting a lot of good buzz on those. So be doing that crossed with these live streams. So I appreciate every single one of you out here. Thank you for coming on. And as always, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Go Raiders.
Let me ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.